Welcome! Part 4 of many different series of Takeuchi and Nasu interview coming in hot. The title is Ordeal Call 3. Able to come the 10th year dream to fruition. Finally, Passion Lip is in her swimsuit form. So the interviewer asked, I would like to continue the talk for Ordeal Call 3, right? Sosho-san. Now it is called the 第4時代 AI ブームと呼ばれていますが、時代とシナリオがぴったりとはまっていたのは狙われたものだったのでしょうか。プロットと作るときにムーンキャンサーといえばビビーちゃんから AI をテーマにしようと考えていました。当時はまだ今のような AI がここまで世の中を騒がせるものではなかったので、いずれ多くの AI がしていくだろうという、その時のノリでのシナリオを書いたんですね。しかし、2023年になってから AI の進化は自分の想像をはるかに上回り、AI と人間の戦いはナンセンスに感じられるようになりました。そこでもっと先の未来を話をしようと思い、プロットをガラッと変えたんですよ。AI の危険性よりもその先にあるものを語るべきだろうという方向性ですね。それがたまたま時代にこうしていいところにハマったのかなと思います。So, interviewer says, we're going to talk about Ordeal Call 3. By the way, right now we are in the 4th gen AI boom, right? The quote unquote, the fourth prosperity of AI. Technological advancement. Did you, Mr. Nasu, aim for this? The fact that the timeline and the scenario, the fact that it fits so nicely, were you aiming for that? Perhaps. Nasu answers, whenever I was making the plot for Ordeal Call 3, it was about Moon Cancer. And whenever you think about Moon Cancer, it was about BB. And because it was about BB, the theme was always going to be about AI. But during my time of writing the story and coming up with the plot lines, it was definitely not of an era where AI was creating such advancements and such news throughout the world. So it was a simpler story of a lot of AI encounterment and just kind of enjoy the ride while it happens was kind of the very first notion that we went for. Anni! Right, so he essentially said he had a mood that a lot of things are going to get replaced by AI, no problem. That was the feeling he had, and wrote the scenario on top of it. However, during the time of 2023, AI advancements went way above my own imagination as well. And I did not really want to talk about the battle between AIs and humans. It started to become nonsense, in my honest opinion, with you. And so I changed the plot a little bit. And that plot change was, what if we talk a lot more in the future? Because right now in 2023, AI advancements was way beyond my capacity. I came to the conclusion that instead of doing the nonsense of AI versus human shenanigans, I wanted to go further and beyond. Talk about a future far, far afterwards. And so I changed the plot just like that. I wanted to convey not the dangers of AI, but something beyond that. Something to kind of talk about. Something to be told that is beyond the dangers of AI. And that was kind of the direction we went for, yes. And in a weird way, the era and the timeline kind of matched up with the topic at hand, and I believe we got lucky. 作中に登場する AI たちのみんなは善意で爽やかな感じでありましたよね。現在の AI が育っていけばああなるという話ではないんです。むしろ総称の3のような AI を作れる知識体系を持たないと人間は滅びるだろうという思いで書いていました。So the interviewer asked, it says, during the story, a lot of the AIs that came as a character, they're all very kind-hearted and very happy and optimistic looking. Like, it's essentially, they were like kind, right? They were essentially good-natured, right? And then Nasu answered specifically, my story is definitely not about if the AI if the current modern AI advances, it would become like that. Not at all, actually. It's in actuality, in Ordeal Call 3, just like Ordeal Call 3, you need to create an AI that is artificially intelligent types and very intelligent on top of understanding things. Humanity, aka humans, will perish. That's kind of the thought process we had when writing this thing, right? So Nasu specifically says, I didn't write it for the sake of the AI progression will be a successful thing if it kept moving forward. More like it's saying that if the AI advancements is more intelligent and more knowledgeable and more quote unquote what's the right word here? It's definitely the intelligent type, right? Where they have to have a specific knowledge intelligence system within the AI system, or else humans will be extinct / perish. That's the direction he wrote. 現段階だとああなるのは難しそうですね。And then the interviewer interjects, saying that at this current stage, right, aka the modern stage of the AI advancements of IRL life, to make it into the ordeal call AI would be a very difficult task. そうですね。あの世界でなぜ涼しく正しい AI が生まれたかというと、SS で個人の情報引用や収集がブームになるよりも前に AI の発達が早かったからなんですよ。この部分は積極臭くなるので、あえて本面では書きませんでしたが、無条件で AI がああなるわけではない。そうなるような我々人間が頑張りましたよということを使いたかったんですね。So this is this is actually a story plot. Nasu specifically agrees with the interviewer, saying that is correct. The reason why the AI was born very kind-hearted and natured in that world, it was because it was before the boom of articles, news threads, media masses, and personal information clump of the SNES, aka social media platform, became the norm. Because AI advancements was faster than the social media conglomerate in that world. But I didn't write that specific part during in-game because I didn't want to make it a lot educational or sound a little, boomerish, and didn't want to be like an old man teaching young people shenanigans. Didn't want to be a little lectury about it, so I didn't write it in the Ordeal Call 3 / main story. But I also wanted to convey the feelings and the story setup, saying that AI doesn't become the way that Ordeal Call 3 was without any requirement or without any hurdle. Humans should do their very best to make it into those type of AIs, is what I wanted to convey. 無条件で AI がああなるわけではない。So it's essentially Nasu is stating that without doing anything, AI is not going to be the AI that you see before you in Ordeal Call 3. I think as we human beings, we should do our very best to try to make it like that, is what I wanted to kind of convey throughout the story, right? So Nasu is saying the actual reason why the AI boom in Ordeal Call was popping, it was because the AI advancements was way ahead of its time, and it exploded before the explosion of social media network, personal information gathering, threads, and movie clumps, and etc., right? Before all this social media shenanigans took over the internet. Essentially, the AI advancements was a lot more prospered instead of concentrating on those. And kind of a it's not really a warning, right? And it's one of those that, like, it's kind of lectury and kind of like okay old man style, that he didn't want to feel that way, so he didn't really write this thing specifically into the Ordeal Call story. 時代設定が3017年でしたが、ちょうど2017年から1000年後なのはなぜでしょう。1000年ぐらい経たないと無理だろうという理由ですね。健全な AI が人類を収御すれば間違いなく半永久に成長すると思いますよ。しかし、現代の AI の限界はやらなくていいことはやらないということ。つまり、滅びはしないけど進化もしない、そういう状況で世界をそのものが闇に覆われ終わりなさいよと告げてくれるのがボスの方のムーンキャンサーなんです。So the interviewer specifically asks, the time setting is exactly 3017 years. It is exactly 1K, right? 1,000 years after 2017. Why is that specifically? The reason Nasu did that is because he said it's most likely it'll probably take us maybe 1,000 years to get to that point, or else it would be impossible for us, is kind of the simplest reason. That if a kind-hearted and understanding AI, right, kind-hearted and understanding AI were to govern over humanity, we would definitely prosper semi-eternity, for certain, in my opinion. However, しかし現状の AI の限界はやらなくていいことはやらないということ。So it's essentially the modern AI, right? The 3017 AI. Their limitation is if it is not necessary, they won't do it, right? So Nasu's kind of talking about the flaw, right? However, if you were to quote unquote give the control and reign over to the smart AI, their limitation is if you don't need to do it, you will not do it. Meaning that humans will not extinguish or extinct, but they would also not evolve as well. And with that situation occur, the entire world kind of gets enveloped by darkness. And the one that says end yourself or put a curtain on your era is the quote-unquote boss of the story of Moon Cancer. End yourself! その間、凡人類が繁殖していましたが、魔術師たちは何をしていたのでしょうか。And then the interviewer specifically asks, during this time, old humanity has been completely extinguished, aka they don't exist anymore. What were the mages doing all this time? If we can get some answer. So Nasu specifically says a part of them actually returned to the roots, right? 上がっていました。aka part of them, right? A section of them, 一部. A part of them / section of them were able to go to the root, right? Kongen, the origin. They were able to go back and they were just kind of done with everything. 寿命が伸びたから達成できた。そうですね。大抵は途中で脱落したり、腰を下ろしたりもしていたのでしょうけど。And so the interviewer asked the reason why some of them, right, some sections and part of them were able to go back to the roots and they were kind of done with everything. Is it because they were able to prolong their lifespan, perhaps? Is that the reason why they were some of them were able to reach it? Nasu specifically says yes. Some of them, most of them dropped off during their advances. Some of them even just put their hips down. Some of them gave up, some of them failed, right? 大体は途中で脱落したり、some of them, most of them failed. Some of them put their hips on the ground, meaning that they kind of retired from being a mage and whatnot. あの世界にもヴェルパーが現れていたようですが、どうやって乗り越えたんでしょう？ AI があれだけ発展して入れれば倒せますよ。ヴェルパー的にも進化のない文明を破壊する意味がない。もしフェイトエクストラの順序があったらヴェルパーの行動の理由がわかるので、その時へ来たら納得していただけるかと思います。現状ではまだ明かせません。So it says, quote unquote, interviewer asked the right questions, and I really like him for saying that. By the way, in the Ordeal Call world, there was a mention of Velpar, right? Velpar. The existence of Velpar was certain. How were they able to overcome Velpar specifically, if you can explain it to us? Nasu specifically stated the AI advancements was so great that of course they can defeat it. And simultaneously do understand Velpar's point of view. There was no reason or meaning to destroy a civilization that had no evolution. If there is a continuation of Fate Extella. If there's a continuation of additionally of Fate Extella, you would also understand the movement and the reasoning of Velpar. Right? Velpar. When the time comes, you'll probably come to an understanding, in my opinion. However, at this very stage, I can't say anything else. So the interviewer asks, so you already had a continuation in mind? Nasu specifically says, I do. I have for everything. I have up till Fate Extella 3, you see. But because FGO started, I couldn't do it. If I didn't come up with a conclusion, I would not be writing Velpar 01, 02, or 03. So Nasu's like, hey, by the way, they're supposed to be Fate Extellas. There supposed to be 3 Fate Extellas, but because FGO started, Fate Extella 3 is on hold. I'm not gonna put Velpar 01, 02, or 3 without any quote unquote, without any quote unquote reasoning to it, right? So meaning that we will one day have Fate Extella 3, but FGO started, so he Nasu had to concentrate on FGO. And then the interviewer says, my sympathies. Speaking of changing topics, we're gonna change topics. Boom. We're done with Ordeal Call 3. By the way, the summer event 2024, I saw the swimsuit of Passion Lip. So we're gonna be talking about Passion Lip here. And Nasu's like, listen. By the way, I've been saying I want Passion Lip as a swimsuit for years. Okay? But Takeuchi kept saying no and completely shut me off all the time. But I asked Wada Arco just as a test drive, right? Just as a test drive, I asked Wada Arco to create a swimsuit Passion Lip to be utilized as an NPC. And then when Takeuchi saw the swimsuit Passion Lip, this man instantly says, Lip can do it. This bastard is what I thought. That is how great Wada Arco made Passion Lip Summer, to the point that he instantly okayed the swimsuit Passion Lip when he was hard stoned on saying no of all these years. It's test drive? Yeah. It's essentially so what happened here is that Nasu wanted Passion Lip swimsuit for a very long time. Right? Around 6 years, I believe, if I calculated correctly from the Tight Moon, quote unquote, Tight Moon. It's essentially when Lambda came out, he was just like, why not Passion Lip, right? Takeuchi kept saying no. He was just kind of saying no and just kind of keep cutting Nasu off. But during the ordeal call, just dumb it, like he wanted to try it out, right? He wanted to showcase Passion Lip in swimsuit just as an NPC jail, right? Just as an NPC, and ask Wada Arco for it. And then when Takeuchi saw the Wada Arco Passion Lip product, he instantly said okay to Passion Lip Summer. And it says, Koitsu to omoimashita ga. It says, yeah, you bastard, right? Is what I thought. But the fact that Takeuchi said a hard, difficult no, it should showcase you how amazing Wada Arco's art was, that Takeuchi gave an instant okay when he saw the product, right? Then Takeuchi answers, man, I gotta say that was an amazing. Once again, I felt the power of Wada Arco's and her understanding of her characters and her way she did things necessary to make it happen. So essentially, Takeuchi saying, Wada Arco popped off. I respect Wada Arco. The fact that Wada Arco made Passion Lip the way it is just made her characteristics just fantastic. Lip は水着にするとさらにピーキーになってしまうんじゃないかなという危険ショットもありますし、メルトリリースもパッションリップもある意味で美しさとグロテスクの融合なので、もしかしたらグロテスクさが前に出過ぎてしまうのではないかと。でもそんなことはなかったね。So Nasu explains here is that if we were to made Lip into a swimsuit, might have been a little bit too peaky, right? Peaky slash cheeky slash it could have been a little too erotic, a little too sensitive, right? And it definitely could have reached a danger zone as well. Because Melt and Passion Lip, in many different ways and explanation, they are a combined fusion, right? They are a combined fusion of both beauty and grotesque, well meshed and harmonized. And so we were a little afraid that maybe the grotesque side of Passion Lip might come more forward if we done it too much. But that never came to happen because of Wada Arco. Then Takeuchi asked, 西洋的なシンボルがものすごく調教されている部分もあり、今時大丈夫だろうかという概念もあったんですよ。だからこそリップを女の子としてちゃんと描いてくれることができる方なんだなと感服しました。So it says Takeuchi shows respect, saying that there was a lot of symbols, right? A lot of symbols of explaining her characteristics as passion lip, and just a lot of texture and structures, and kind of showcase a lot of personality for passion lip, was very harmonized and conglomerated in her swimsuit outfit. And at a time like this, right, like modern time, censorship, yada yada, in a modern time like this, we were very afraid that it would be okay to showcase passion lip was part of the problem as well. So the fact that Wada Arco, right, was able to draw passion lip as a girl, right, as a girl, and not a monster, and not a you know, like a super sexy shenanigan, even though she got that sexy on her, right? It says the fact that Miss Wada Arco was able to draw lip as a girl, I was at all, and I was instantly recognized the amazing talent that Wada Arco. It's essentially Takeuchi's glazing Wada Arco, okay? Saying that the fact that lip was able to be drawn as a girl like that was wonderful job. 出せる見込みが立ったということは、次はプレイアブルに資格も。このインタビューが公開される頃にはもう発表されているかと、リップのファン方々には泣いてる、喜んでいるとは思います。So it says, so that means that now that the possibility of showcasing Passion Lip to be true, does that mean the next step will be a playable character, perhaps, that she'll be ranked up in? And then Nasu answers, by the time this interview is going to be public, I believe it's going to be announced live. I believe the Passion Lip fans are going to be crying with joy, in my opinion. Takeuchi answers, by the way, we were thinking about giving her a costume for it. At first, our very first idea was keeping it as a costume and get it done with. But it was done so well that came to the conclusion of ending this amazing thing as just a costume would be a disservice to Passion Lip fans. And so we あえて例装として実装は見送り審査サーベントとして出すことにしたんです。So we rerouted so that it wasn't going to be a costume and just showcased her live in the quote-unquote summer event. And we've decided that we were going to make her the quote-unquote new servant. It says, Nasu specifically says, when it comes to rarity, she has caught up with the other Sakura 5s. I believe Miss Wada Arco, Wada Arco was definitely happy. It says, yeah, when it comes to rarity-wise, she is now finally lined up with all the other Sakura 5s. Wada Arco personally likes the servant as well. Right, aka, I bet Wada Arco is going to Grand Passion Lip Summer. It's Wada Arco's best worked servant. So please enjoy. Only one number one shiny star がとても印象的な敵でしたね。今回もムーンキャンサーも強いインパクトがありました。So now they're going to be talking about Ordeal Call 3. Okay. They're going to be talking about Ordeal Call 3. It says, I would like to talk about the last boss of Ordeal Call 3. Simultaneously, before we go to the final boss, I would like to talk about the Mahoyo, right? Collab last boss, only one / number one. The shiny star was a very impressionable enemy. And even this time, the moon cancer of the final battle quite had a strong impact. あのボスは顔のない記号的な存在として書きました。具体的にはネタバレは避けますが、 人類を待つ足を引っ張る、人類の待つ足引っ張る感覚など、恐ろしい内面的な症状を得て、バトル演出では昔流行っていた世界地図版面のウイルス。Is that Plague Inc? It is Plague Inc. Okay. ウイルスを感染させていくゲームの不気味さが好きで参考にしています。ボスの攻撃もまるで情報が伝示していくかのように、みんながやる気のない人間になっていく様を表示しています。最初から賢明なイメージはあったのですが、ビジュアルに落とし込むのが難しくて、竹内くんと何度も話し合い、ようやく落としどころが見つかりました。デザインはケルヌンナさんと同じく、スタジオ BB の竹之内義塚さんに担当してもらっています。ナスさんからには、見た目は異常にシンプルにしてみたいというイメージが共通点があります。異常段階に上にあるのにポーズをとっているピクトグラムっぽいのもがいいなと思いまして、そのシンプルなデザインがどれだけハったりを聞かせられるかをデザイナーとして締めていきましたね。攻撃法もナスさんから送られてきた動画のそのまま反映させた形です。確か当時にムーンキャンサーを配置するレイアウト案のその時にも上がってきたんですよね。そうすごく大きいから仮面をどんどん引いてもらったんだ。お互いやりとり重ねながら今までのないようなビジュアルを作り上げることができました。シャイニースターの時は可能な限りシチュエーションをド派手にせよというディレクションでしたが、ムーンキャンサーはシンプルだけど印象に残るものにしたいという、むしろ派手にはするなという指示があったんですよ。そういう狙いを絡み合っておいてまとめていきました。他にライター担当のショーではかっこいいボスキャラがいっぱい出てくるので、自分は際物でいこうと、シャイニースターもムーンキャンサーもシチュエーション自体これまでにもなかったですしね。ビジュアル的にはフェイトステイのサクラルートの影にも見ましたね。偶然の一致というか正体不明の存在となると、形が一番分かりやすいもんですよね。頭の位置にある円状のものが聖杯の穴にも見えました。あれはデザイナーが上がってきたもので、自分からは特に意思とか示したことはありません。ちなみに登場した白い奇跡なものはどういう意味があったのでしょうか。人間の罪ではあるけど汚いものではないという印象がありました。ここではずっといたい、続けたい、まだ笑わたい。Alright, sorry, I'm fucking going off the range. I apologies. Alright, let's talk about the boss, right? So we're going to be talking about the final boss of Ordeal Call 3. And then Nasu specifically said that last boss, we wanted to create an existence of entity that has no face and no, kind of wanted like a symbolic faceless entity, right? That's the design we kind of drawn for. I'm not going to say specific spoilerage, but it's wanted a feeling of expressing the pulling the legs, right? The feelings of being held back like a drag, that we wanted that humans drag, right? Every human has this feeling of drag. That's what we kind of wanted to embody that and create that as fear incarnate, to create that structure and shape that into a uncanny form and structure it as such. For the battle animations and battle statistics, we utilized an old game that was a trend back in the day, where you would utilize the entire world map and slowly but surely you would infect it with a virus little by little. By the way, that's Plague Inc., right? We wanted that uncomfortability, and we utilized the Plague Inc. Gimmick and its infection rate and its dragness and how it like slowly but surely affected things left and right. We utilized Plague Inc. as a example of that. We wanted the auto attack, right? We wanted its attack patterns to be like a spreading of information, like it just spewing infectious laziness. It's like little by little, slowly but surely, it wanted to image a human that has zero efforts, right? The feeling of laziness or just being dragged out to be like, oh, I don't want to do this, or man, this sucks. Creating this drag of tiresome and laziness and kind of this slothfulness. I think that's the right word. Wanted to express that. We had the visual, we had a clear visual at first, but making that image into a picture form, visuality, and condense it down into a character form of what you saw in front of you was the difficult part for sure. Me and Takeuchi definitely conversated multiple times, but we were finally able to drop that specific silhouette, spooky, scary skeleton character. Of course, he didn't say spooky, scary skeleton, just the fact that he was able to drop that character the way it is. Takeuchi answers, by the way, the design was very same person who created Cersenos. The Studio BB, Takeuchi Yoshisuka-san, was in charge of it. Nasu gave a direct order saying, make it look irregularly simple. And that image kind of came into mind, and that collided. It says, when it came to the irregular aspect, we wanted posings, and whenever it does movements, we wanted that pictogram style simplicity as well. And that's why we went with that. そのシンプルなデザインでどれだけハったりを効かせられるかをデザイナーとして詰めてきましたね。攻撃法もナスから送られてきた動画をそのまま撮影した形ですね。確か中東版にムーンキャンサーを配置するレイアウト案もその時に上がってきたのですよ。そうそう、すごく大きいからカメラをどんどん引いてもらった。So Takeuchi says we wanted that simple design, right? That design had to be simple, but we wanted to. How many bluffs and shenanigans can we stuff into that simplistic design? And we wanted a. We did our best as a designer to kind of pursue that factor. Every time it attacked, we practically used what Nasu sent us, kind of. It's essentially what Nasu sent us. We kind of just used it as an animation motion. But 確か中央にムーンキャンサー配置するレイアウト案のその時上がってきたんですね。When that time came in, the idea of putting Moon Cancer in the center of the screen also came into fruition as well around that time, right? It's essentially Nasu talked about attack patterns. The simplistic design was a design choice that they were like attacking and kind of aggressively going for. Whenever the attack pattern were to come, Nasu gave several like videos and maneuvers, and they practically used that as an example. And then when that time comes, they were just like, why don't we just put Moon Cancer in the middle, right? And that's how the Moon Cancer was put into the middle. And then, yeah, the Moon Cancer location was now layouted to be in the middle. It says, Nasu entered, ads saying, yep, it was so large and it was so huge and big. We wanted to pull the camera out as much as they could. カメラをどんどん引いてもらった。お互いやり取りを重ねながら今までにないようなビジュアルを作られることができました。It says we both conversated and added our ideas, compiled them together, and created a visual that we never had once before, and created such awesomeness. During the creation of Shiny Star, we went for the direction of do as best as you can in your capability to make the situation as flashy and fancy as possible. But when it came to the moon cancer, we went for the opposite design, saying we want a simple creation, but a very impressionable, simple design, but a very impressionable be left behind afterwards. In actuality, do not make it fancy. Do not make it exciting, right? Was the specific direction we went for. With all that in mind and scoped in and honed in, we were able to create that character. And then Nasu says, the other writer, right? The other writers who was in charge of the chapter had a lot of cool bosses that looked amazing and awesome. So I went for the ugly, right? Ugly and disgusting type was the direction, because the boss character types that the writer was in charge of was awesome and cool. It says Shiny Star and the Moon Cancer boss. The Shiny Star and the Moon Cancer boss. We wanted to create a situation that we never had ever before or experienced it in general. And then the interviewer interjects saying, by the way, visual-wise, it really did look like the Fate Stay Night Sakura Root's little shadow. And then Nasu interjects saying that was definitely a coincidence colliding with one another, but it's definitely understandable because when trying to showcase a shape of an unknown life form or unknown existence, I believe it's best to showcase that type of shape to be more understanding to the keen eyes. And then the interviewer also added, by the way, the halo, the circle round type that was above positioned in its head, it really looked like the hole of the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail's hole is what I've perceived it as. And then Nasu said, by the way, that was 100% designer's choice. I did not put any idea, effort, or said anything about this. This was 100% designer's choice, and designer did it awesome. So yeah, Nasu saying I didn't give specific instructions when it comes to the design of that moon cancer. To add these, like halos and shenanigans. They wanted to look like a pictograph. They wanted to look like that shadow figure from Sakura Roots. That's about it, right? Like, there was no specific order from Nasu to have a circle above its head. Scenario に登場した白い幕布呪文 what is that one? Is that how you say white fiber? Is it fiber or silk? I want to say, because it's a complex kanji, it's fiber. It says, can you explain the white fabric, or I think it's fiber, right? The white fiber thread, right? The white fiber thread that came out in the scenario. What kind of intention did you had when creating something like this? Nasu specifically said that white fiber thread indicated the human stagnation, but we didn't want to make it dirty, right? 人間の津波ではあるけど汚いものではないという意識がありましたね。ずっとここにいたい、ずっと続けていたい、まだ頑張っていたいという感情は決して悪いものではないですよね。だからおぞましい存在ではあるけど汚くはしたくなかったんだ。人間の本流ですね。 So yeah, if you guys don't know, in the ordeal call scenario, after everything is done, we kind of get enveloped by this white fiber, and the quote-unquote interviewer is saying, "What was that? What is that exactly?" It's saying that Nasu is saying that that is stagnation, the feeling of slothfulness, the slows of human beings, right? It's something that it is a taint and it is a dirt and is a quote-unquote human stagnant state, right? It's but he didn't want to indicate it as dirty. He didn't want to make it taintful. He didn't want to make it darkness. That was the intention that I had for going there. The feeling of wanting to stay here forever, or wanting to continue for eternity, or I still want to continue pressing forward. These feelings are not evil. These feelings are never evil intentions at all. And these are not a feeling of bad. So even though these existence might be a little like excruciating or horrible, right? Because stagnation is not good, right? These feelings might be horrible, but I didn't want to make it dirty or disgusting. Because after all, it is a main stream, aka it's humanity's nature to be that to an extent, right? It's a honryu this. So in that part, essentially, interviewer asks, "What's this white fiber?" White fiber indicates human stagnation or human laziness, or kind of this human's flawed characteristic of kind of stagnate a little bit. Like feeling of wanting to stay here forever, wanting to continue something forever, or wanting to have the feeling of just constantly continuing moving forward. These type of emotions are not evil or bad in any case or form. But too much would definitely be an evil existence, but he didn't want to depict it as dirty or disgusting or tainted or anything that kind of connotates a like a disruptive or like strong like not repulsive or thing that you should reject, right? Like he didn't want to dirty this thing because it is being a little stagnant and being a little lazy is, you know, humans. It says humans mainstream, but aka he pretty much means that it's in human nature, right? Everybody has a day of stagnation. Everybody feels like a day where it feels lazy. So that's kind of it. Is it like interior? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. 主人公のテキストが赤字のだった理由は、あの世界において主人公が悪だったからです。赤字が消えた時に悪ではなくなる。向こうでもしょうがねえなと許してくれるわけです。I says, can you give us a primary example of why was the protagonist text in red? In that world, by the way, the fabric world, right? Protagonist was evil there. But when the red letters disappear, it doesn't become evil anymore. And that's the reason why the other side was, I suppose, I guess, and kind of forgave us and let us go. Yeah, if you don't know, during the envelopment of human stagnation, the protag was caught. Whenever protag talked or protag mentioned something, it was written in text red. But it went away, right? And then the interviewer specifically says the Leonardo da Vinci caster that came in that part was quite the surprise. It says technically she did show up a little bit earlier in Ordeal Call 2, but whenever it comes to pushing protagonists back with words and the way you can do things like that was definitely Da Vinci, who worked her butt off and did her very best during her first season as well. there were a lot of candidates as well, but I'm pretty sure that people would agree that if this specific person said it, it can't be helped. And the words that is very heavy. And because it's Da Vinci, and because it is adult Da Vinci, it carries that weight. But please do understand, please do understand that this is not a season 1 Da Vinci, right? This is very important too. This is not season 1 Da Vinci. This is not a season 1 Da Vinci, that it was a Leonardo da Vinci that was summoned on that spot and got the information up front. That's all. It's very interesting that Nasu specifically says that this is not the season 1 Da Vinci, which is very interesting. It's just saying that it is a Leonardo da Vinci that just got summoned on the spot and kind of got, kind of got on the spot known. チャージ攻撃時についても重ねれば推奨名簿が構成世界成立 aka I think it's just world no 構成世界説 yeah the just world hypothesis theory I think it's called the justice world of hypothesis theory and the just world's fallacy and the just world it's hypothesis, fallacy, and belief. I think that was every time you come to Noble Phantasm. これはもうそのままですね。悪い目に遭っている人はきっと悪いことをしたしたに違いないと決めつける考え方です。仮説が担当しで自己中心というかムーンキャンサーにふさわしいことだと思います。この説を知っている人にはなるほどなど感じてもらえるでしょうし、知らない人には何か変なことを言っているなというくらいの受け止め方で言っても思えばいいです。Yeah, that is true. That is a little bit of moon cancer shenanigans there. Alright, so yeah, it's essentially talking about Leonardo da Vinci. It was awesome. You know, being pushed by your back with Da Vinci is always the best because, you know, the carriers of the word is very strong, right? But please do understand that it's not season 1 Da Vinci, but it is this Da Vinci that was summoned on the spot and kind of got known. It says whenever the MP, aka the charge attack by the moon cancer, comes with the word the fallacy, not fallacy, excuse me. It goes the following. It is the just fallacy and belief, right? So every charge attack, the moon cancer would have a title change saying the world just world hypothesis. Yeah, from a hypothesis it becomes a fallacy, and after fallacy it becomes justice or world belief, excuse me. Why is that? I gotta write that down. Sorry, it has to be correct in the order. It's hypothesis, fallacy. So hypothesis, fallacy, and belief. Just gotta write that down, just so I don't keep mixing it up. これはもうそのままですね。悪い目に遭っている人はきっと悪いことをしたに違いない。So yeah, can you explain that? So that's just a normal set of idea. Is it red text equals evil? It's evil to Dao Dobera? No, that was just that room exclusive. That's it. That has nothing to do with Obera. It has just had to do with the exclusive in that room and why that your text of speaking to that world was read. So don't get that twisted, Chupa. And so Nasu explains that it's kind of self-explanatory, saying that if the person is having a bad time, or 悪い目に遭っている人は, a person that's having a quote-unquote I think I should say suffering. Yeah, I think say suffering. So it's essentially Nasu saying if you see somebody suffering, you will come to the conclusion that they have they'll come to the conclusion that they're just suffering, right? That's the conclusion. And then the hypothesis would come into play. And then the hypothesis turn into a fallacy, then it becomes then a selfish reasoning will fill the gap. And that's kind of what it kind of fit the moon canceller narrative, right? So Nasu is specifically saying, quote unquote here, is that people, if the people are suffering, then the conclusion is that the hypothesis is that if the person is suffering, then they must have done something to suffer, right? And then it comes to the conclusion that the hypothesis turned into a fallacy, and then that fallacy turns into a selfish belief. And in a weird way, it's appropriate for Moon Cancer to have so. Right? To people who understand that logical conclusion, people would say, oh, I see, I understand, and you probably felt so. But for those who don't understand, it's okay. Just think of it as these people are saying something weird. And I think that's just the best way to accept it. And that's perfectly fine. How do I TLDR that? 悪い目に遭っている人はきっと悪いことをしたいけないと決めつける考え方ですね。仮説が誤解、そしてその誤解が信念に変わっていく自己中心というか、ムーンキャンサーにふさわしいというか。So, to TLDR, right? It's the Moon Cancer's way of coming up with a hypothesis and then using that hypothesis and using a fallacy to make up excuse, and then create a selfish belief through that fallacy to make it into your own, right? And then that's kind of what Mr. Nasu is saying, that it's kind of befitting of a Moon Cancer. It says, for those people who know, they would be like, oh, I see. For those people who don't know, just let it go, right? Just be like, what are these guys talking about? Speaking of Ordeal Call 3, the combination Noble Phantasm, the combined Noble Phantasm of Kishino Hakuo, right? The Hakuo Kishino fucking combined MP of the 4-star welfares that you get after you beating Ordeal Call 3 was phenomenal, is what I've, that is definitely impressionist. Like, it's essentially, he's a big fan, right? Is what the interviews say. Nasu answers, I wanted to do that. We were going to 100% do that, so we did it. That's it. あれは絶対にやると決めていたので、やらせていただきました。It says, yeah, Nasu says, we were going to do this, and we did it. That's it. いや、まあ、お互い同一人物だから何の不思議もないんですし。It says, after all, these two people are practically the same person, right? So there shouldn't be any mysterious about it. It says, and then the interviewer goes, I was so excited that if I were to get both of them, you can activate the combined Noble Phantasm animation. So I was excited to see if that would happen if I were to obtain both of them and put him out in the field. And Nasu goes, unfortunately, that would not have ended well because Grand, right? AKA Grand. grand shenanigans on top of other shenanigans. So it was that location exclusive. I believe that you can only see things at that moment makes things very valuable and very enjoyable as well. So the interviewer asked, will we have a combined noble phantasm gimmick actually come to FGO, right? So it's a saying that will there be a combined noble phantasm gimmick for the FGO play? Nasu straight up says, nope, not at all. At the current system, it is impossible. So this is Nasu Kinoko's final resistance, saying if I can't do it in game, I'll do it inside of the story. And that was my last quote unquote resistance to it. So meaning that in the current FGO system, we cannot combine Noble Phantasm. There's no way we can do it apparently. But because we can't do it, Nasu busted out the Nasu tantrum and made the combined Noble Phantasm gimmick into the just story exclusive. So the interviewer asked specifically, by the way, if Karude's BB was the mastermind of the summer event all along, what would have been the Dubai Demon World, Makai, right? The Demon World tour would have been like. ドバイで株価戦争をする話でしたね。誰が発表している消費権が一番強いとか、毎日変動していってビリのやつから退場していくひどい話をしようかと。最後にビビちゃんが出てきて、株取引は怖いですよね。FX はダメだぞって。私は身を関して FX の危険性を皆様にぶちためましたのか。What the fuck, Nasu? What is FX? FX はダメだぞ。What is FX? FX はダメだぞ。私の自分ってもっと諦めていた元はダメだったから一番儲かっているでしょう。FX? What is FX? I don't know what FX is. But essentially, if Ordeal Call 3 was not going to happen, and if BB Dubai wasn't hijacked, Nasu was just like, I was going to make a horrible story about Dubai stock exchange war. It says, every day there will be an announced of who has the highest stock in value. And every day there would have been fluctuations of movements. And whoever's in the last place would have been eliminated little by little. It was a horrible story. In the end, BB-chan would show up and says, a stock change is a very scary thing. Say no to FX. So I suppose it's FX means fixing. Okay, so foreign exchange. Maybe it could be foreign exchange, Roto. I believe it is foreign exchange because we are talking about the stock market. So it says, the stock market exchange is a very scary place. Foreign exchange is a no-no. It says, I wanted to showcase this event and tell you the dangers of how FX for now it makes sense. Yeah, if it's a foreign exchange, that would make sense. So good job, Roto. Sorry, I did not know the lingo there. So it says, yeah. So BB came personally to tell you the story of how dangerous foreign exchange could be. And but in the end, BB would have made the most money in the back corner, and as a funny story. So TLDR, chat. Yeah, TLDR. If we didn't get Ordeal Call 3 or Summer Dubai shenanigans, Nasu would have created a Dubai stocks exchange war where everybody gets deleted, and in the end, BB Chan would just be like, stocks exchange are scary, guys. Don't do foreign exchange. Just I used myself as a sacrifice to tell you the dangers of foreign exchange, and apparently BB Chan would have made the most money there. It says moving on forward. Can you give us the explanation and the reasoning behind BB Dubai? How was she born exactly? So at very first, we came up with the name BB Celebrity. That was our very first get-go, but it had a weak punch. The naming had a lacking of this impact. So we changed her to BB Dubai. The BB Cosmos was a BB Chan that went to the moon. So we wanted to combine a spaceship and swimsuit, kind of metal that together to create it, and that's how it was born. It says, speaking of BB Dubai, her expression was quite abundant and quite a lot of different cut-ins, especially with the Noble Phantasm cut. There were many different variants. I was quite surprised. And Nasu goes, after all, yes, of course it is. After all, this is the final. This is the last BB Chan. We made sure that she was fancy and elegant. And then the interviewer goes, what? Is this the last BB? Nasu specifically goes, after all, this is supreme, right? This is the ultimate BB after all. Yeah, I don't know about Golden Bunny or whatever, but Wada Arco busted this out and says, this is it. So I believe Wada Arco. Parentheses, lol. Takeuchi gives his idea, saying that Golden BB. We came up with the idea, spreading the fact that let's make BB golden and shiny, and we kind of just expand it from there. And then Nasu goes, the golden BB part, we let Wada Arco do her thing. Yeah, what we suggested and what we named and what we talked about was that it was going to be a golden BB as a name and a title, and that's it. So essentially, the final ascension of Shiny BB, the ultimate Golden Bunny BB, was specifically created by Wada Arcos. So we might not see another BB unless Wada Arco comes up with another BB. So it might be a BB final, chat. So get BB'd on. During Ordeal Call 3, Cosmodrop came in once more, and then after the event, after that, the next event, she came arriving. It says now that out of all the Sakura 5s, 4 of them is now officially released. What happens to Violet? Will there be a time or will there be a place where she will be available as well? Nasu answers, that'll be a little difficult. Yeah, that'll be a little difficult. Kazura drop was come in as a star system 的に登場した。Kazura came in as a guest star, right? It's essentially came in as a Murian in LB6 as a star system, as just to be like a cameo, big dick cameo. But the user base reaction was so well, we decided to pivot it to make her playable later on. We knew that we shouldn't give her right off the bat, so we wanted to showcase her one more time during summer, and then we would bust her out officially in the next event, and that's kind of how it carried out. So, Takeuchi said, Violet could have been a welfare. We had a conversation for it as well. And then Nasu said, we sure did. It says, I believe if Ordeal Call 3 was a solo story, Violet would have probably came out as a welfare, in my opinion. But we were going to utilize summer event resources into Ordeal Call 3 situation, so it was very difficult to make it happen on that current spot. So the interviewer asked, so Violet can only be seen in Cosmo Drop's Noble Phantasm. I really did wanted to see her move as a character. And then Nasu interjects saying, Violet is a rider like Sakura, right? Rider type Sakura. But we've recently showcased Saber Medusa in FGO. So if we were to showcase Violet, it would overlap a little too much. And so, まだ登場していない新キャラクターから実装することを優先しました。And so we decided that we would showcase the newer character that has not showed up instead of quote unquote, like it essentially they chose Cosmo Drop and they chose Saber Medusa over Violet because they wanted to show FGO instead of Violet, right? They decided to bust out the new characters and then prioritized it. And says if we can hear anything about Star CL, if we could. In her quote-unquote achievements, she has an achievement that says she has once saved the galaxy and they earned that title of sort. Can you explain about that? Quest を達成するとなぜか視界の端っこに出てくるんですよ。実績一度銀河を救ったってプリントしろ。ただゲームのパロディです。スペースファンタズムーンと違って、スターシエルは本当に半分のサーバントユニバースの出身なので、あそこにいれば銀河や一度や二度は救っているのではないかなと。So it says, whenever you complete a quest, you would kind of see that pop up in the corner of your eye every so often, remember? And so, I just kind of wanted that as a game parody meme. That's all. Just understand that different from Space Phantasm Moon, Star CL is half servant, half universe existence. So whenever you're in the universe resident, you would, if you're CL and if you're kind of that caliber, you would save the galaxy once or twice, is what I think. By the way, Double X also has saved the galaxy once as well. It says, in the CL's flavor text, you specifically talked about the final battle showcased in Arcuate, against Arcuate. Now, which universe, which world, what timeline are you specifically talking about here? Nasu says, of course, it is in the universe timeline, servant universe timeline. It is not Tsukihime R. Okay? The 100% pure murdering each other conversation will probably be later later to be. Mata oi oi. Oi oi is a way of saying later, right? Essentially, understand that the flavor text of Ciel saying that she had a final confrontation with Arcuid. It is not in the world of Tsukihime R. It is not in the world of Tsukihime. It's not in the world of Fate. It is in the universe timeline. Okay, the servant universe timeline. So the 100% pure blood killing each other battle will be later down the line. So that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the very long Ordeal Call, Passion Lip, Ordeal Call 3, Passion Lip Swimsuit, etc., etc. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know you guys got a lot of questions. Make sure you comment down below so I can give you more information on the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.